Hi, and welcome back to Chef Hacker Kitchen. So maybe it's the third Friday in Lent, noontime, and you just can't stomach the idea of going out for a filet of fish sandwich 3 weeks in a row. Or maybe you worked late and you really don't want to come home and spend an hour and a half preparing dinner. Or maybe you're just looking for that perfect accompaniment to your bowl of soup. Well, that's what we're going to look at today. We are going to make something that sounds lowly, but is really quite delicious. So stay tuned for Chef Hacker's Cheese Hoagie. Okay, so starting with bread. Bread's probably one of the most important parts of a sandwich, in my opinion. This I can get at my local ShopRite supermarket. It's a Kaiser roll that's long, so it's kind of crisp on the outside and really soft on the inside. Need some lettuce. I'm using romaine. You could use iceberg. The key is going to be in how you curl and slice it. We'll see that later. 1 tomato. I kind of like these plums for this. They're meaty, but they have enough taste and body to hold up to the sandwich. For the cheeses, I use 2. I use these specific cheeses. This is a mild provolone, and this is a kind of a salty Munster. The combination of these two just works wonderfully in this sandwich. I have 2 tablespoons of cider vinegar. You can use 2 tablespoons if you're using cider, but if you're using wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, you may want to cut it so it'll be a tablespoon of vinegar and a tablespoon of water. Salt and pepper. This dish really relies on salt and pepper for taste. And about, I don't know what that is, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of oregano, and we're going to drizzle it with olive oil. Okay, let's get started. You know, earlier my wife asked me if I was going to make a recipe today, and I said, well, sort of, but it's kind of more of an assembly, and that's really what this is. So we're going to start by cutting our roll. I like to use a serrated knife, and I try to cut right down the center. I'd like, if I can get it exactly the way I want it, I'd like to have the top half and the bottom half of the roll about equal in depth, okay? So, and I like to cut it all the way through. Because of the way I'm going to eventually go ahead and take care of this. Okay, so now I take my vinegar and I distribute it evenly across the 2 halves of the bread. Okay. Then I take some of the oil and I drizzle it over. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, clean my board. And now for the tomato, I like to slice it. I'll just kind of eat that little piece later. And then I use about 3 slices of tomato. This one's a little small, so I'm going to go for 4. And that'll be my tomato. And then for the lettuce, if you're using romaine, the back of the romaine has kind of this rough part right here. I like to kind of just slice that off. I've done that to this other one already. And then I take this and I like to roll it. Now, if you're using iceberg, you don't really need to roll it. You don't really need to look for any tough parts. And then I go ahead and I slice it. Now people say, boy, that's a lot of lettuce for a sandwich, especially given that we're only using 6 slices of cheese. But in my opinion, this really makes a delicious sandwich. The more greens, the better. All right, so I think we're about ready here. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to find the bottom, which is right here. And first I'm going to lay the tomato. And I'm going to actually put this 4th little piece here. It rolls a little longer than normal. Okay, and then I'm going to put some salt and pepper. And I like to do that on both sides. Then I'll lay my cheese. 3 slices of mild provolone. And then 3 slices of Munster. This is cut on a kind of a thin basis. I like more thin slices than fewer number of slices that are thicker. And then I go ahead and I lay that shredded lettuce right on top. And then I'll add a little bit more oil, a little bit more salt and pepper, and a balance of my oregano. Actually, it looks like I got a little too much here, so I'm gonna not send that. And then we're about ready to cut this. Okay, and there's our sandwich. Now, the sandwich is good just like this, but I also like to put it back together, or sometimes I don't even cut it, and then I wrap it tightly in some sort of a plastic wrap and let that sit for several hours, and the flavors seem to meld together. The liquids are absorbed by the roll, and what you have is one delicious sandwich. All right, so that's it for our cheese hoagie. That's Chef Hacker style. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit the like button down below. And don't forget to subscribe so you always know when we make new content. See you next time in Chef Hacker's Kitchen.